We've all had those moments in life that really hit us hard, affecting our mental well-being. It's just part of being human, right? But have you ever wondered if there's a way to prevent these struggles from taking over your life? Well, there's some real truth in the saying, prevention is better than cure, and it can change the way that you think about your mental well-being. A few years ago, Dr. Stephen Hayes gave a TEDx talk called Mental Breaks to Avoid Mental Breaks. Think of your brain as a high-speed sports car. You wouldn't let just anyone drive it without knowing where the brakes are, right? Yet many of us go through life without understanding when or how to apply our mental brakes, or frankly even that such brakes exist. So hey, I'm Dan and I run Anxious to Zen-ish. I've been through this journey myself and made it my mission to help people manage their mental health more effectively. With years of experience and a genuine passion for making a difference, I'm here to guide you. Today we're diving into how our brains connect ideas through language and cognition, and how that's linked to the increasing mental health challenges in our society, and how armed with that knowledge we teach where the mental breaks are. The concept is rooted in a branch of science called Relational Frame Theory, or RFT. This theory considers how we learn and make connections between information, and how this affects or drives our thoughts and behaviours. Whilst our brains are incredible at making these connections, there is a downside. Sometimes our problem-solving minds go into overdrive, especially when there's no real problem to solve, or the problem is outside of our sphere of influence, or when there's just not enough information to come to a definitive conclusion. Instead of resolving things, we keep jamming on the accelerator, replaying memories over and over, or trying to fix the unsolvable, or generating endless speculation without facts. The last one is probably the most insidious. Imagine a time when you believe that you have been seemingly ignored by a friend or a co-worker. For many people, the mind will go through thoughts of, what did I do? When in reality there's probably nothing, and it's not about you. However, our craving for certainty and control means that we can get hooked into a spiral of unhelpful thinking or speculation, which can lead to a narrowing of our focus and uncomfortable feelings and emotions. So, let me introduce you to John, a dedicated employee who got trapped into a cycle of fear and avoidance at work. It all started with a simple fear of making mistakes. He was a project manager in a high-pressure field, but he felt like the slightest mistake would lead to disaster. While that fear wasn't entirely irrational, it became paralysing, and he began avoiding making decisions altogether. He'd procrastinate, delegate when it wasn't necessary, and seek constant reassurance. It might alleviate anxiety temporarily, but it creates a loop of inaction and suffering in the long run. John wanted certainty over the decisions he was taking, but there were no guarantees. Attempts at control led to inaction and procrastination, and in the long run, unworkable behaviours. What is the solution? Well, Stephen Hayes suggests a different approach, which is prevention is better than cure. Instead of waiting until you're in the midst of suffering, you can proactively learn and practice techniques from acceptance and commitment training, or ACT. ACT techniques were developed based on the science of relational frame theory, and there's a mountain of research backing up their effectiveness. These ACT practices help us to develop something called psychological flexibility. With some effort, our minds can become more flexible, like a spring that can stretch and compress but return to its original shape. While we can't avoid life's pain, cultivating psychological flexibility can help us reduce the long-term suffering many people experience. The challenge here is convincing people to invest in something that doesn't provide immediate, easily quantifiable benefits. It's a bit like having an insurance policy. It's there to protect you, and the premium is a little bit of time and effort. Think back to the Y2K bug scare of the late 90s. Many thought it was overhyped after January the 1st, 2000, but the preventative work was crucial to ensure that systems continued to function. Now consider in that context, teaching individuals, especially from a young age, how to apply their mental brakes. With over 1.35 million people in the UK currently off work due to anxiety, depression or chronic stress, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, there's never been a more critical time for this investment. At Anxious to Zen-ish, we're dedicated to sharing these mental break principles with groups. Our goal is to help people create some space between their conscious thoughts and the problem-solving narrative which the mind is prone to create. Simply put, once you are aware of that narrative, you have the opportunity to take control and reduce unnecessary suffering. Remember, prevention is better than cure. By learning and practicing ACT techniques, you can build the psychological flexibility needed to bounce back from life's challenges. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. If you've got any questions or thoughts, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much.